wherever you are in the internet world. Welcome to another edition of Golden Independence. It's another beautiful day right here in Bermuda, taking a little nature walk, communing with the elements, which gives me another day to talk about Bitcoin. Why? Because I woke up to some more Bitcoin that's being generated into my wallet daily from a one-time payment. See, I did something one time, and now I've acquired leverage where it's acquiring assets. The asset that I acquired is acquiring more assets for me in my sleep. We call this leverage. Yeah. And what am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about BitHarvest, right? BitHarvest is the ultimate leverage opportunity in the Bitcoin economy, and it's the best kept secret. Why is it the best kept secret? I could tell by the views, the amount of views of my videos. I could tell, right? Because this isn't hype, right? This isn't hype. It's pretty much straightforward. I mean, in my world, it's straightforward because the average person, even the average person in crypto, doesn't even understand Bitcoin, right? They just see the fast money of the crypto space and think that, you know, because a coin is less than a penny, it's going to shoot up. And guess what? Once upon a time, I was in that space. I was in that space. I was in that headspace. I thought that, oh, I'm gonna get invested into this coin that's under half a penny, less than a penny, and I just gotta hodl it, right? See, I caught on to the hodling concept. Most people, when they come into the space, they understand the hodling concept, not the trading part. Trading part is later, but the hodling concept, they get it, right? Especially when you say, yeah, once upon a time, Bitcoin was a penny or 10 cents or less than a penny, right? And now it's this. Well, these other coins is possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible, right? It could do the same thing. Okay, cool. Now, I've been there, done that, which has encouraged me to learn about Bitcoin. And I actually got orange pilled through that process because once I started to really educate myself about Bitcoin, it's like the veil was being lifted, right? As you go deeper into what Bitcoin is, yeah. When you go deeper into what Bitcoin is, you see that it opens up a whole nother world, right? It opens up a whole new world, and the space begins to look extremely different. And like I said, the veil gets lifted, and now you see the world differently, right? You see the world differently, and when you see the world differently, You behave accordingly. You behave differently. You do not behave the same way once you understand what Bitcoin is and the adoption that's taking place in the space is it's just astronomical. What do I mean by this? What do I mean when I say the adoption that's taking place? Well, did you know that Bolivia and Russia are exchanging trade, they're doing trade, oil that is, for Bitcoin, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's being utilized for international settlements, and they don't need any permission. They don't need no permission from the IMF to do it, right? They don't need no permission from any other entity. This is the power of Bitcoin, where nations can settle trade with each other. And if it's being utilized like that, that means that these countries have to purchase it. They have to convert their dollars, right? Because Russia could print their money, right? They could print their rubles. So they're using their rubles to trade for oil. They also have mining, but I don't think that they're using the mining for trade. I think they're using the mining, this is my opinion. If they're mining Bitcoin, because they are mining Bitcoin, the Bitcoin that they mine, they're going to hold on to. If they can convert their currency into Bitcoin, they're going to use that to settle. Or because Russia already has oil. So Russia has the oil, right? Russia has the oil. So they're going to trade the oil for Bitcoin. And this is what's going to make them wealthy in the space. And I highly doubt that they're going to trade their Bitcoin for anything else. Why? Because they already have a resource that the world wants and needs, which is oil, right? Oil and natural gas. And when with Russia already trading their oil for Bitcoin, this is going to start to catch on with other nations that are trading and utilizing the US dollar. Countries are going to get away from the US dollar and start to settle trade via Bitcoin, which means that they would either have to start mining Bitcoin. They'll others have to start mining Bitcoin themselves, or convert their currencies into Bitcoin in order to purchase, in order to do the trade. So that's one bit of news that I wanted to kick this podcast off with. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about history. And that is the past halvings, the halvings that have happened, that have taken place. I just want to remind people that we are coming up on a year. We are coming up on a year for the halving. The last halving was in April, the 20th of April, 2024. It's now March. One more month. Yeah. One more month would mark a year since the halving. Now, history has shown us that at least after 18 months after the halving, we see the run-up. It starts to break out. Yeah. 6 months from April puts us into the fall. It puts us into the fall. This is where some analysts say that Bitcoin will be at 1 million by the end of this year. This is where you got some analysts saying or having the prediction of $1 million per Bitcoin at the end of this year. Why? Because of the halving. We really haven't taken that into account. That's not priced in, ladies and gentlemen. We have another 7 months to go. We have another 7 months to go, and the year is not over. So, and having said that, this is one of the reasons why you want to start acquiring now. You want to start positioning yourself now with as much Bitcoin as possible on this side before the 18 months. You don't have that much time. I wouldn't recommend you even wait until then. Don't wait, people. Do not wait another 7 months to thinking that you have time, because you don't. You do not have time when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to exchanging your dying dollars. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Yes, even where I'm from, right here, Bermuda, our dollars are dying. Why? Because things are costing way, way higher than they used to. I remember when a loaf of bread was less than $5. I remember when a loaf of bread was less than $5. It was $2 and some change. And now we have bread almost at $10. In 2025, bread is, you need a $10 bill. If you don't have a $10 bill, right? You can't even contemplate. If you don't have a $10 bill in your pocket, you can't even contemplate getting a loaf of bread. That's right here in Bermuda. Now, when in the future, in the short and near future, when Bitcoin is on parity with the dollar, and that's the US dollar, right? When it's parity and things are priced in Satoshis, when one Satoshi equals $1, that's when other commodities in relation to Satoshis become cheap. Become cheap, I said. Why? Because when that happens, we would have accumulated so much Satoshis that we will become millionaires. Some of us will be billionaires overnight, although it would have taken from this point. But when that happens, it's going to feel like it's overnight. When one Satoshi reaches $1, and that's when one Bitcoin will be at the price point of 100 million. Now, 100 million is not going to come at the end of this year. I do believe it will be that within this cycle. That's what I believe. I believe it will be in this cycle. Within this 4-year cycle, we will see 100 million. We're going to see 1 million. Right? And I believe we're going to see 1 million because of the fundamentals that I know about, that I'm aware of, i.e. what I'm talking about right now, the halving. So you have the halving along with, and when you connect this to, I'm going to add this once again to my playlist, the Bitcoin Hidden Gems. I'm going to add this to the playlist of what makes Bitcoin, why you want to get involved now with Bitcoin. The halving is one of those underlying features with regarding Satoshis that's going to propel it. It's going to push the price point way up there. This is when we start to get to the million. And once it reaches 1 million, ladies and gentlemen, that's when things are really going to get interesting. Because with what's currently happening regarding the institutions, and you have, the CEO of BlackRock advising their clients, their ultra high net worth individual clients, to allocate at least minimum 2% of their assets into Bitcoin, just to hold. When you have a Bitcoin ETF such as the BMAX that Michael Saylor has now issued, that other companies can do. Other companies can do what Michael Saylor is doing, they can be a part of the fund. And how they can be a part of the fund, they have to have minimum 15% of their assets, at least 15% of their assets in Bitcoin. Mercy. Just to be a part of the fund. Because when you're a part of these ETFs, you can be, you get a portion of the fees. You get a portion of the fees. However, 80% of the fees, 80% of the fees that are generated through the fund, like this is another money glitch, people. 80% of the fees through the fund is going to come It's going to go right back into purchasing more Bitcoin to bring into the fund. So it's a twofold money glitch. It's a twofold money glitch. And the twofold money glitch is not only, right? Not only do the companies have to acquire or have to have Bitcoin themselves just to be a part of the fund, but the fund itself, the BMax fund itself, 80% of the fees are going to go purchase more Bitcoin. That's two. And the third money glitch comes from the average retailer like you and I. The average person can get exposure to what Michael Saylor is doing. So just like how you have the BlackRock ETF, Bitcoin ETF, and Michael Saylor's ETF, where you get exposure to the volatility of Bitcoin, right? The BMax gives you the exposure to the volatility of Bitcoin with none of the downside, right? With none of the downside. So it's more of a bond, right? It's a bond. Well, you get it's a Bitcoin backed bond. So you get none of the downside. So you get to leverage what these companies, what these corporations are able to do by raising debt, interest-free debt, and they're purchasing the top asset. And they get, and so when Bitcoin goes up, so does the price, the share price of the fund, right? Which means whatever you're holding is going to go up. So you're looking, so it's a win-win. It's a triple win. It's a win for the retailer. It's a win for the institutional investor. And it's a win for the actual fund. It's a win for the fund. Because it's going to continue with its success. It's going to continue with its success. So, I hope that with the information that I have just displayed and laid regarding the halving and the fact that Bitcoin is already running scarce. Bitcoin is already running scarce. It's only 450 Bitcoin a day being mined. Institutions like Strategy are buying tens of thousands of Bitcoin. They're eating up all of that Bitcoin. They're eating it up. And in another, after this cycle, the 450 gets cut in half a day. It's going to be less than 300, 225 a day. And then after that, it's 100. 112 Bitcoin a day being mined. a day. And if we only have maybe a handful of companies that are able to raise, we have to keep this in mind. If we have a handful of companies that are able to raise, what are we going to do? Stay tuned. More to come. Bless up.